Hello and welcome to the Superhero U with me, Andrew Gray, where we highlight heroes. I guarantee that it's going to be raw, it's going to be real, and it's going to allow you to be inspired, where you are going to leave with electricity coming out of your fingertips. I got my co-host here and my dear friend, Stephen Turley. Say what's up, Stephen.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Everybody's doing spectacular, and so are we. And today on the Superhero U, well, first of all, we need to do a little backtrack. Last episode, we had the world famous hero in my eyes, in our book, the Brian Hall, and he shared his incredible journey with us. That was very, very impactful. I mean, I learned some new things about my mentor, and I said, what better yet than to start the Superhero U premiere episode with somebody who I've always seen as a hero in my life and who's allowed me to be the person I am today and mentor so many other people, including my co-host and dear friend here, Steven. And we were talking and saying, man, we should probably do the next episode as our hero's journey, as our story, so that everybody gets to know us as well as we know each other. And here we are right now. So who's going to start? That's the real thing.
I mean, if you want, I'll start first. I mean, we got to get it out there, so go through the story time.
Yeah, flip a coin. We'll just let fate decide on this one. It's like, call it heads or tails.
Tails. I don't have a coin.
All right, tails it is, my man. Tails it is. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So the
Winner,
way we
winner.
do the hero's journey is it goes in 3 different stages, and there's 5 parts in the first stage. There's 4 parts in the second stage and 3 parts in the third stage. I mean, it's really easy as that. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what was your ordinary world like growing up? What was that thing that really sparked you to have that call to adventure in your life, to really kind of move it forward? Where were you? Who were you?
Oh man, so whew, that's a lot. But call to adventure, man. Before the call to adventure, man, I was dropped out from high school. And I never graduated, never got no diploma, no GED equivalent. I was a pill popper back then. I mean, I went through that whole phase, rebel, teenager, angsty. But I was 18, 19. I was married to my junior high sweetheart, best friend, divorced 11 months later. And at that time, which mom was going through cancer, and I shut down. I shut down hard. And I pushed everybody away, even my wife at the time. Divorced, and we were at the courthouse, and I remember it, and I still use it to this day. It's my reminder. But I told her at the courthouse minutes before we signed the papers that I would be that person that I was, that she fell in love with, that I would find a way to get back to that person. And I went through a very, very dark hole. After that, I slipped, I fell, and I just tumbled every rock, every boulder, all the way to the bottom. And I stayed there for quite a while. It was a few years that I stayed there.
What was that pinnacle point where you're like, you know what? I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom and I'm suffering. And you just chose, obviously because you're here and you're shining and you're bright and you're beautiful, not to waste your suffering. What was that thing that got you out of that? How'd you pull yourself out to bring to that call to adventure?
So about 2014, so it's like I said, it was a few years from going to that pivotal point. About 2014, I was on Instagram, scrolling through, just had that that platform going, and I followed one of my idols, one of my he ended up being a mentor without being a mentor in a sense, but he was a mentor to more than thousands. But I followed JDF. Jason David Frank, the original Green Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. I followed him. And then within months, he was doing this really cool thing where he was calling it the JDF Ambassador Program, or Team JDF, which is tattooed right here. Always will be. But but he went through state by state and he was picking random people. You just had to comment on the post. And I was like,
Well,
why not? Why not give it a shot? So I waited until Nevada hit. Nevada, he makes his post. Hey, looking for people from all over Nevada. It didn't matter where you're from. You didn't have to be Reno or Vegas, or you didn't have to be anybody. You could be a nobody in the sense. He was just people who were dedicated. So I went, I posted, commented, and I woke up one morning and my Instagram notifications was liked comments, JDF liked this, JDF liked that, JDF followed you. And I was like,
hold on 1 second, Steven. Hold on 1 second, because I didn't know this, bro. Like, okay, let's just. Steven and I have known each other for over 10 years.
yeah.
He's a brother to me. He's family. And that's why we decided. I see him as a hero. I've always seen him as a hero. But this is when we met in 2015. I did not know it was through JDF until right now, bro. And
Mm-hmm.
he's a huge follower of the Heavenly Father. He said Jesus never tapped on his forearm. We had Brian Hall in the first episode. This is like peanut butter and jelly. Continue. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good, bro. You're good. So yeah, so woke up that morning. I became one of his
Serendipitous.
ambassadors, and everything just changed. I actually had a reason to be like, I can do this. Like, this is awesome. This is like the best news I've had in like 6 years. Like, I'm
Wow.
a nobody, dude. I'm a nobody. I'm in a dark spot. JDF, the original Green Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, followed me, became one of his ambassadors. And honestly, I learned a lot from that dude. His videos, I'm
Let's
telling you, man,
go.
the way he
No,
looked at life.
JDF was more than just a martial artist. He was more than just a great community leader. He was a leader in everything that he did.
Yeah. Oh,
He
absolutely.
brought the energy. Absolutely, 100%.
And so, yeah, like, a lot from him. And that right there, that opened up a doorway to doors that are still constantly opening. I feel it's because of him, because of what I was taught, what I learned from him. Because from that point, it was the booking agency that I interned for, which is what introduced you and I. I did that for a while, the connections I met, and I just kept going with it, and doors and doors and doors, and there's still doors to this day. So I still, to this day, thank JDF, but I also go back further to that person at the courthouse that made that commitment. I'm going to be that person for her.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that person that she fell in love with, her best friend, the one that was like, you know what? I'm not letting this bug me anymore.
Yeah.
And the one that's going to love her. And which is really cool that we are now going on 7 years. We have been back together. We have been together for that.
Wait. Don't share all the goodies just right now. So I want to. We're still in the first. It's 5 different steps. We talked about the ordinary world, the call to adventure, and he was talking about mentorship. But there's this little gap in between that's called the refusal to the call. Now, even when you had a mentor, did you have any kind of refusal to the call? Like, am I enough for this? Am I, were you still dealing with any kind of addiction? Were you dealing with any kind of anxiety or depression at that time, or did you just decide, yes, I am, and I'm just going to still move forward? Tell us a little bit about that.
No, absolutely.
It's a very relatable story. Sorry, I cut you off. Very
No,
relatable story.
yeah, no, you're good. I absolutely used thousands of times. It felt like 1,000. There's not a day, or there wasn't a time where I felt like I wasn't good enough. I mean, I literally, there was times where I'm handed this, or I'm lucky enough to have this travel, work with you, work with these other actors that I grew up that are now friends, family. But there was moments where I'm like, I don't deserve this. Why do I have this? Like, I'm not good enough for this. There was times where I'd call my mom late at night and
What
be
is
like, what do I do? Why do I continue? Like, this is killing me, because it's either financially hard, or it's just emotionally hard, because I'm working a full-time job. I'm doing this on the side, and I'm traveling, and I'm doing this, but I don't feel like I deserve it. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there was quite a few times, and that
This this
refusal.
this little
Yeah.
bit is, and let me know if I'm wrong or not, man. We're just having this one-on-one conversation. Is that it's a kind of like an imposter syndrome?
Oh,
Is that
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's probably the most accurate way of putting it. Is it's almost like an out of body experience where I'm looking at myself through someone else's eyes and I'm seeing this life. I see the life that I live in. I've seen the life
Hmm.
that I went through. I saw who I was as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, and I sit there and I look at it and I'm like, who are you? You don't, like I don't deserve to be in those shoes. Like I'm not this person. And yeah, no, it's definitely an imposter syndrome.
And that's why I wanted to share to the audience is that seeking a mentor is vital. Even if it's just reading a book of somebody that you admire, right? Listening to a podcast, taking a course, it's so vital that we do that, or have something that we're looking up to that it's going to allow us to scale that, to ascend. Now, I'm sure on your journey, and if you, after you were traveling with people that you've been admiring, I'm sure then we're getting ready to cross that threshold. But in that, in the midst of that, I'm sure relationships, friends, were you tested in any way? Right? That's the next one where people are
Oh,
like, man, you've changed, man. You're different. Or who are
yeah,
you? I don't
no,
even recognize you anymore. Just gaslighting you up.
yeah, no, absolutely. Like once I decided to like accept that this is the life that I have right now, and I didn't know where it was going. Um, but I took it. I ran with it head first, and I had a lot of friends that were really close from high school and longer, but they were going a certain way, and I was trying to help them with what I was learning through JDF, because what JDF had taught me, what he had taught thousands, I was like, dude, think of it this way. But I had people that were holding me down, man. Oh, I just like they were depressed. Their energy kept sucking me out to the point where like every time I was around them, I just felt like oh, wanted I just want to drink, or I just want to pop pills, or which that was bringing out an older version of me who did like doing
Yeah.
that, that enjoyed
Yeah,
that
those energy vampires, right? That they just want you
dude.
to be on their level, and they just drain you, and then you're just like, all right, well, I guess I'll go all the way back to my ordinary world then, because it's more comfortable with you guys there, and you guys don't pressure. It's, man,
Oh yeah,
continue.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I had people that were like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. You live this life. You're traveling. You're working with people, that you grew up watching, and some of them were big names, some of them weren't as big named, but and then people just holding me down, like, "Oh, dude, you want to go drink? You want to go do this? You want to go do that?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's like 10 o'clock at night, man. I gotta work. I got other stuff to do. Like, I'm sitting there doing all this other thing. Like, energy vampires,
Bro.
dude. And I had to lose a lot of those friendships. It was one of the hardest in the beginning. It was really hard because some of those friendships, they were like family. They were more blood than blood, and I had to make that decision. Do I deal with it while trying to balance and go where I'm going, or do I cut that tie and let them sink or swim themselves?
That's
And
so real. You had to choose yourself.
100%. And that was a hard one too. Am I being selfish? Yet again, imposter syndrome, mixed with a little bit of selfishness. And was I being selfish? Like I'm this friendship of 10 years, all these memories we have, or the life that I'm starting now. What is more important? That negativity with it, with that friend, or the
Yeah.
positive that I'm getting from this, from going forward and going up. And oh yeah, it was hard in the beginning, and it doesn't really get easier. It's
Doesn't.
just it doesn't.
But you know
It
what?
doesn't
You
get.
start to get to know yourself a little bit better, and I guess that helps put better boundaries down, right? So it's
Yeah.
less about them understanding your journey where you're at. You understand where your journey is, and hopefully, just hopefully for the people you love, I'm sure. I mean, I think about this too. Hopefully, it can influence them to continue to move past those things, to get in different stages of their lives, right? We're in different chapters. We're all in different journeys: a spiritual journey, physical journey, nutritional journey,
Yeah.
financial career, all these different journeys. But it sounds like when you're on your way to, this is stage 7 in the hero's journey, after test and analyze is approaching your innermost cave, you have to shed the weight. You
Mhm.
have to shed the weight of those chains that we revere, that are just shackling us, to, I guess, our ordinary world, right? And who we grew up with, or those kind of things. So at the end of the day, your ordeal was, and let me ask you, is if you didn't continue to move forward, what was going to happen in your life, do you think?
I would have went back.
And
Went back.
are you willing to settle for that?
I would have totally gone back, I feel, to the pill popping, the drinking, the partying, the not amounting to my potential that is still growing. Um, and I couldn't let that be what I did. Like I couldn't just accept that and accept defeat. Um, so there's still days.
Defeat.
There are days, man, and mom has been one of the biggest supporters and one of the biggest people to help me, because that lady who has gone through her own battles, called her, I have texted her. It didn't matter if there was tears in my face. It didn't matter if it was 2 o'clock in the morning waking her up. It didn't matter what it was. If I was feeling that almost like that path of was pulling me in, going back to the old me, I'd call her up and I could feel it, and I'd pull back and pull and call her and be like, hey, what do I do? And she's like, there was one time I called her about it. Do I quit? Do I give up? And she was like, you've gotten this far. Keep going. And I was like,
Yes.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let's go. And so I freaking got
Oh,
myself, pushed myself back up, dusted off, and I just kept going. And there's still days like that, but it's easy with that support system for sure. The
that's like
ones
the
that
most
care,
practical advice, coolest advice you can give to anybody. Keep going.
keep going.
Keep going. But go where? Just keep going. But go where? Just keep going. On the Superhero U social media, Steven and I released this visual reminders things that we were doing, and probably going to turn them into calendars or some affirmation cards. Who knows? But it was this really cool arrow that was just like, pink. That's progress.
That's
Hoo hee hoo ha hoo ha. That's progress, right? So as long as
right.
we're keep going, we're making progress in our lives and we're understanding what's around us, I'm sure. But what I'm getting from this, and this is getting right next to my the favorite question that we love to ask people because it really just lights up their soul. 1 second. But that you sandwich two different things. You asked your elder for advice, and they gave you some good advice, which is wisdom. Most people don't ask, seek, and knock, right? They do it themselves, which you did as well, and you learn from it. So you use the wisdom smart sandwich. And this what leads on to the question is, what was your reward that you were aiming towards in that moment? What was your reward that allowed you to go on to the third and final stage? What was that focus?
You know, the people that I've been able to help, people, the you working as your handler in the beginning, and just having that connection, but being able to help and just know that, hey, if you guys needed anything from anywhere in the world, you could hit me up and be like, hey, could you help me out with ABC? I think that was really it. It was growing up and wanting to meet your heroes is an amazing thing. Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man, whoever they are, it's awesome. But having that connection, that friendship, and that bond, I think that is like the greatest thing ever, to have that more than anything. It's real. Like, I know you on a personal level that most people will never get to know, because to most people you're going to be Troy Burrows, the Red Megaforce Ranger. But we have that. We have a different connection. I think the fact that we get to help each other grow and learn from each other and the other people that I've met, that's probably the most gratifying thing ever. It's still surreal, but it's a gratifying feeling knowing that I can help you, you can help me, and we're growing together.
I appreciate, love you, brother. It's mutual. I get to know you better every single day because we ask each other these questions. We don't assume, we just ask questions. And if we ever differ, we put respect and understanding first on the table, because we're together in this. and when you're going to cover ground. And I just appreciate that, man. And thank you for sharing that reward. So now after the
Thank you, man.
reward, you started making your way back home. Tell me about the relationships in your life that you were able to reconnect with, build bridges to, on that, making your way back home. And what's your aims now for the future with
Ooh,
those relationships?
man.
Starting with self, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I I still had issues with even coming back. The return, I still had issues with myself. Um, Still dealing with that imposter feeling, not good enough and being selfish. But my best friend, bestest best friend since junior high, who also was my wife and ex-wife, we ended up reconnecting. I got three stepkids out of that whole ordeal. And that right there changed. That's a whole. When you have kids looking up to you as the hero, that is a whole different feeling. That's not even a me being my own hero to me. It is these little kids are looking at me, and I'm like, I'm not a hero to you. I can't be like, I don't tell them that, but I can't be that hero. Do you know what I've gone through? Do you know what I have gone through to get where I'm at now? But I'm like, wait a minute. Them. Teach them now what how to do it. Teach them how to keep going and fight for what you want. But greatest freaking thing ever. And this relationship's been going on 7 years now between me and my now fiance. Um, the oldest stepson lives with his dad. But I got my two. I got Eva and Tyler. Tyler's the youngest. Kid is cool. And I've a lot of new connections, man. A lot of new connections. And I keep growing with what I've learned in the booking agency realm. My passion for music, because I love rock music. I'm always going to be a rocker. But and working for the radio station that I work for as a DJ, a lot of new connections, more so with a lot of the newer bands, but a lot of older bands that I've been friends with for God about 10 years, give or take, and it's really cool growing with them, learning, meeting new people, and I don't know, really, I don't know what the future is gonna hold, because I take it almost like a day by day. I know where I would like to be. I know where I would like to go, and I know what I would like to try to see if it's that right door for me, because there's constant doors always opening, and there has been for me, and I've seen them since JDF. Since that door opened with JDF and the ambassador program, I started seeing the doors, and I started running head first. I didn't care where they went. I was just like, I'm taking that door, and I'm going head first.
Let
So
me just share this with you real quick. Doors are opening for Steven for many different reasons. And I truly do believe, because the way that he exits, the ways he enters the next thing, and he is a positive, upbeat, proactive person. And that is rare to find just in general. He's so genuine and kind that, again, real is rare and fake is everywhere, right? Real
oh
is
yeah,
rare and fake is everywhere. So you're like, is this guy for real? Is he trying to get me? This can't be. And I wish I could relate to that. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, you're just an awesome dude, bro. And wherever you're gonna go, you're gonna be healthy. You're gonna be successful in whatever that means to you, and everything around you is gonna continue to grow, because you're growing. And you don't waste your suffering. That's what I got from this message. You did not waste your suffering in this. You were able to transform it, instead of transmit it. I think that's what Brian said on the last episode. It's like,
yeah.
if you don't, right? And that was, man, that was a powerful episode as well. That really hit me. So you made your way back. You made your way back. Your resurrection now is, when anybody comes at you, this is what I got. Any way, shape, or form, you're going to take it as a grain of salt. You're going to be walking on water, and above all, soaring above it, because you have focus, you have vision of a positive future. Is that a good recap?
That sounds like a great recap.
He's like, horrible.
No, that's good, man. It was great. I mean, I definitely through this journey know what my worth is. So
Well, on this, the very last stage, which is 12, This is Return with Elixir. This is when you can share some of your insights with the world. And I'm going to ask you just a couple quick fire off questions because these are fun. I was preparing this earlier today, and I was like, man, what's a good question? Okay. What does commitment mean to you? You can be in one word, it can be in a paragraph, but we only have so much time. Just kidding. Go for it.
Commitment means to me, the first thing that I guess it's one word, two words, whatever. Self-love.
Mm, mm. Love that. Love that. Okay. What happens if you don't have self love?
You go back to the negative, like the old me. Like I feel like without that self-love, I'd go back to the old me that was down in that dark tunnel.
Would you say you were lost in that tunnel?
100% lost.
Okay. If you could go back to yourself to be your own mentor when you had your refusals to the call, then what would you say?
Ooh, damn. Ooh. I don't know if it's like cliche, but better.
Uh,
Keep fighting. It gets better. Like so far, it has gotten better because of that self love. And if I would have known that, forever, but I had to go through what I did. But yeah, it gets better, man. It really does.
okay. Okay. I love that. It does get better. You guys, anybody who's listening, I mean, Steven, take it from there. How does it get better? When does it get better? Where does it get better? Tell me, give us some more and context to that.
The, I'm a big believer of the energy you put out, you receive. And I'm not talking, going into a lot of like the religious aspect. I just believe in just great karma, good karma, but that energy that you put out. If you believe that you're worth something and you believe you can grab it, you can touch it, and you can make it whatever you want, I believe that's going to come back. Speak it into existence and it will happen. And I haven't, even with a little bit of self doubt, there's going to be self doubt, but the connections I've met, the things that I've gotten to do in such a young time, or a short period of time, but in my young age still, um, amazing that, going from what I did to now and the doors that are still constantly opening, the things that the things I get to see and do and share with my friends and family, the things we get to build. I never thought I was going to do a podcast with the Red Super Mega Force Ranger, who is like a brother to me. But the
And
music
vice
world and
versa.
everything, right? Vice versa. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really cool. A lot of cool things and watching the kids grow. I don't think if I would have never kept that promise in that courthouse and I would have bettered myself and got back to who I was, I wouldn't have these kids. So, I don't, and those kids, they mean a lot to me, man. I mean, I love them. I love them and I love
I
watching
just
them
want to give a
grow.
big shout out, real quick, brother. I think what you're also doing, and maybe I'm wrong, but we're always on the same page. Just big shout out to all the stepfathers out there. You guys are
Absolutely.
heroes. You guys truly are. And I have a stepfather, and his name's Craig Foster. Call him Craigery. Not to make this any more about me, but it's just like if I could be half the man that he is, and I'm sure that these kids, when they look up to you, they're gonna get to that age if they aren't already. Man, I'm about to cry, and just be like, I just want to be, as half as good as him, and I'm going to be good in this world because I saw how he treated my mother. I saw how he treated us, and how he treated himself and everybody else around him. That energy. So anyway, shout out to the stepfathers.
Absolutely. Got to shout out my stepfather too, because he taught me a lot too. So,
Boom.
yeah. So, but yeah,
Last
so
question. Last question. Oh, continue. Continue. A little
we're
glitch in
good.
there.
I think we're good. So, go ahead with that last
Okay.
question.
Last question is, what does a hero mean to you?
You'd ask that one last. The Superhero You podcast without asking who a superhero is to you. Spider-Man? I'm just kidding. I mean, I love Spider-Man. But someone who knows their worth, someone who knows they're good, that's willing to do whatever it takes to get to where they want within reason. Don't be a Lex Luthor. Go a little comic on that one, a little nerdy on that one. Don't be a
Oh, I
Lex
like
Luthor.
that
Don't.
one.
Yeah, Lex Luthor's one of my favorites. I love Superman, but don't be a Lex Luthor. Be just do it for the right reasons, and definitely just keep pushing. Don't let people tell you that you aren't good enough, you can't do it, you suck. And I mean, let them say it, but wipe it off, get back up, and keep going.
Bam. All right, bro. I think it's time to flip the
Flip the
seats
script.
here.
Yeah.
Flip the script. And if you need to bring up the hero's journey in front of you, or if you don't have it already, I
Well,
can just kind of go into mine a little bit. But what's
yeah.
up?
No. Let's start with yours. I mean, we know now.
Okay.
I mean, you've mentioned you're the super. You've played Troy Burrows. You've done modeling, but let's go back. Let's. Where did it start?
Yeah. Before we go all the way to start, I'm just gonna say what I struggled with. A lot of my adult life. I've been an alcohol abuser. I've abused marijuana. I introduced myself uh, to porn at a young age, and it was at a point where I couldn't go. I couldn't go one day without watching it multiple times a day. It was kind of like set the alarm, get the dopamine hit, and then I also put myself in a position to be surrounded by a lot of addicts, homeless people who were just sick in the head. Um, I used to hang out
Damn.
by the river all the time, and I would steal alcohol, still 40s, and just drink those till I'll black out. And I would go skimboarding all day and have bonfires all night. I would have unprotected sex with a lot of different women that I don't know their names. I started selling weed and growing weed. Those are
Wow.
things that I did until when I was 18 years old. I got checked and I went to jail for vandalism and battery. And I got out of jail. And I remember that where I was living at the time and who I was with pressed charges on me. And I woke up in jail in my boxers because I blacked out. And I was in San Diego downtown. I have no idea how I got there. Okay. But I woke up on the ground floor like a werewolf freezing, like, oh, who am I? Where am I? And no clothes. And then they're like, yeah, you're gonna be here for like 3 or 4 days. I'm like, what do you mean? How
Well,
did I get here? Who did this? They're like, you did this to yourself. Door shut. And I remember just being in there for a couple days, and I got checked in there as well. There was this giant, like, when I say giant, I was only like 18, 19, but he was like 6'4" white supremacist dude with a shaved head and like tats all over his face and his neck with like lightning bolts and like weird stuff. And he was like,
whoa.
came right up to me. And I was like, uh-oh. And he said, you look like my cousin. Just stay in your bunk the whole time. It's Thursday. They're going to let you out Monday because I got in early in the morning. So anyway, I stayed in there. And I remember right when I got out, they let me out of my boxers, had no money, no phone, no nothing. And I just walked around until I found an Aladdin bail bonds. Thank goodness that was the one I was supposed to be at. And I ended up going back to Sacramento with my tail between my legs. Now, that was a really eye-opening thing for me. Then I needed to get out of Sacramento. I needed to do something with my life. I always knew that I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be funny like Jim Carrey, and I wanted to be the Red Power Ranger in life, to be honest with you. I just didn't know how to get there, and I didn't understand it was a business. It was entertainment, but it's show business. It's 2/3 business, 1 part show. You put those together, and there you go. I didn't know that. So what did I do? I just entered myself into a competition in New York, went out there, and I was able to um, God blessed me with my looks. I didn't choose that. He blessed me with my looks, so I used what I had. That was the advice my mother gave me, to kind of start this journey and get out of from where I was at. Definitely in trepidation. But I wasn't a victim to it. I put myself in all those positions. So then when I was in New York, I won the competition. I won International Agent's Choice, was gifted the best agent for modeling and acting in the West Coast, rep by top tier agencies. I had no guidance, I had some preparation, but very, very little. And then I went to Los Angeles, and my whole world was just flips upside down. When I was in Sacramento, I believed I was the predator, and I was also walking around untouchable because of the people who I hung out around, and even my family members. They were gang members or just affiliating themselves with the wrong crowd. But I came out a little bit different than my brother, my family. So they're like, "Hey, corn biscuit, we'll take care of you, Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I just kind of walked around. What's that word? Impunable? No, I don't know. Untouchable. That's what I felt like. So I had a chip on my shoulder. I just won these huge awards. I just got signed with agents. Didn't have to seek. I just went out. I guess I just, competition. So now I'm in LA. I'm not the predator anymore. I'm being hunted, and by unbeknownst characters who prey on fresh faces or newbies or people who have naivety and who are young, right?
Right.
Now this wasn't anybody's fault but my own. I chose to go to a lot of these places underage into clubs. I chose to drink, and I went to LA first and foremost, not as much to pursue a craft. I went there for power. I went there for fame. I went there for attention. I went there unbeknownst to myself to fill that gargantuan void that I had that allowed me to be sensitive. I was beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, I was angry. I was frustrated. I was acting very self centered and arrogant. But God is so good in my life because as I kept moving forward, that's where my mentorship was. Now, remember how it goes, the ordinary world, the call to adventure. That call to adventure was LA. Well, what was my refusal of the call? My refusal of the call was getting drugged 3 times by not agents, sorry, by people in the industry, directors, photographers, things like that. I put myself in those positions. I drank that alcohol. I'm not a victim to anything, but my refusal didn't happen. Why? The greenbacks. Lots of greenbacks at a young age, and I was just like, this happens to everybody, I guess,
I guess.
whatever. I just honestly, man, I was lost. Just like you're saying. I was freaking lost. And agents and management, they're not there to guide you anymore. Maybe some are. They weren't the one. They told me the rules to live by and how to be a professional. And they would say go out there and be safe, but they're not my mommy or daddy. They won't. I didn't have that. And also I was lying. I was lying to my parents. You know,
Oh,
I I, I was lying to them. Not about the finance. I let them know about that, but I wasn't telling them the whole truth. So help me God. And anyway, I kept moving forward, and a lot of my friends at that time, they didn't say, "Hey man, you've changed." They're like, "Dude, you have changed. You got women all over you. You are getting into the clubs of VIP. You're getting bottle service. Can we join? Can we come?" So it
they wanted
literally
to hang
flipped
out.
from in Sacramento, where I was following everybody else with impunity and etc. Now I'm leading everybody into this darkness. And that got me to a place, bro, where I
Mm.
I guess I just have to let it go. But this is a safe space. I feel like some of those
Oh
people
yeah.
that I still let into the darkness are still in that darkness, and I've been doing so much that I can to help them come out. But like you said, that's where another part of the test is, right? Is how do we get and force people to level up when they're not ready, willing, and able, or wanting to go on that journey? They're not there yet. So then what do you said it yourself. I had to vibrate those people out of my life and just ask for forgiveness and operate in grace. And that's not an easy thing to do, especially when we're all fall short and we can get back into our vices. And from the grace of God in my life, what ended up happening was there was a paparazzi man named Rashid, beautiful man inside and out, pure heart. And he hit up my manager to said, "Hey, yo, um, I want to shoot Andrew." And she said, "Okay, let's get into a meeting." And so we took a meeting, and he's like, "Hey, bro." That's how he talks. Like, "Hey, bro. Hey, do you mind? I need a place to stay for a little bit." And I didn't think it was weird at all because everybody in LA kind of sleeps on everyone's couch for the first 5 years. It's just what it is. It's getting expensive. It's like one of the most populated places. So with that being said, he moved in, slept on my couch, and then one of my roommates, I was the leaseholder, they ended up moving out. He moved in and said, "Hey, can another one of my buddies move in?" I said, "Yeah, because we need to fill this place up so we can pay for it. Very expensive." And this was the grace of God in my life. He was sober. He never drank or did alcohol or drug, cigarette, not one in his life, not one. And his buddy that he brought in was also sober, but he was a extremely talented human being. Like, he is such a great actor, such a good person. But he was dealing with his demons, but he was on his like 1 year sobriety at that point with his medallions and stuff. So we would be like reading together, acting together, taking professional shots and putting that together into a package. So that's what really helped me to get to that innermost cave to deal with my ordeal, which was my vices in life. And then boom, I started getting back in going to church consistently in my life. And not only just going to church, but then serving in church and then being a part of church as a community leader, teaching the Sunday schools. And then that was my reward. Some people have their reward in the very beginning to serve something higher. Mine was power, money, and fame. That's what it was originally. But as soon as I moved forward and I was working towards that cave and, that journey, that testing journey,
Yeah.
that's when I was like, no, my reward is to get to heaven and to take as many people with me as possible, get to the creator and to bring as many people as possible. And that made me to go my way back home where I was like, I don't care to be a part of anyone's campaign or commercial or show or television or theater anymore, even though I will, because that's what I absolutely love to do inside and out. Um, inside and out. But right now, what I need to do is create my own content, produce educational, inspiring, and entertaining content that's going to help move the world, and above all, create more heroes in the world and remind them of who they are and what they did matters, because they matter. And that's what makes them the heroes, by making the next good choice after the next after the next. And that's what's kept me towards my resurrection. So when anybody points, something at me, I already know as a leader I'm going to get hit, but now I have that Jedi pew 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 pew. It's morphin' time, and I just put that helmet on and I get out there. So as I return home with the elixir and we created the Superhero U, and we have multiple different series in development right now, I just couldn't be more thrilled. And man, I'm gonna say it, but I believe God is great. And without these trials and tribulations and these battles, then I could not be battle tested. I would not be the person that I need to be right now. And especially come from this point of view, my point of view of the world has completely changed. The point of view of myself has completely changed. The entertainment industry has completely changed, and I'm just so happy to be here with you, Steven. And I hope both of our audiences, or our audience, got at least one thing out of this. We got to close, guys. But my name is Andrew Gray. My co-host name is,
Stephen Turley.
and we just shared our hero's journey with you. So if you guys can relate in any way, shape, or form, go ahead and follow us. Also, check out Uncle Dad Talks podcast okay? Because they are producing this. They put so much love into this, and we couldn't be more grateful. Go ahead and check us out on IG at the Superhero U. We're going to have our website up very, very soon. Together as one. Steven?
Let's fly.
Let's fly. See you guys later.